folks, Jean back with part 2 of the Cydonian Neolithic artists and builders of Mars. To summarize, we're analyzing this photograph called Surface Morphology, acquired on the 1st of November 2007 at a high definition of 25 centimeters per pixel, and I'm showing you images cropped from the JP2 and white map projected file. There's just a crop of the low-res JPEG looking at the anomalies in this dark region. Located 46.90 degrees north, 49.05 degrees east in this region of the photograph, outlined with the red rectangle. So, if you've wondered why this area looks totally devastated and blasted, it's because it probably was, and I'll show you towards the end of the video in Google Earth Mars why I say that. So without further ado, I suggest you also get yourself some popcorn and your favorite soda. This is going to be another very long video. Some of you like the longer videos, others don't. So for those that don't like the long videos, please bear with me. We've got a lot of anomalies to cover in part 2. Check out there, for example, on the right hand side of this photograph, there's a slab buried in the sand over there. But I'm going to focus on this one, which stands out like a sore finger. And we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides of a perfect hexagon. The 6th side seems to be partially buried over there. This is a very good example of many of these that I've found. This one's in pristine condition, and I'd say each of the sides of this object is about 6 meters. And zoomed in, we can check the perfectly straight edges and the equal angles in this object. So when is NASA going to tell us what these things are? Why do they just call it surface morphology or crater ejector or boulders? I mean, this can't be natural. Come on, NASA, let's get with it, man. So from part 1, I found more of these. This one's got a slightly rounded edge to it. This one's angles are a little closer to 90 degrees, but very common design elements on Mars. So the next anomaly we're checking out is right there. It's a huge one. This one's about 15 meters across. And also, if we zoom in on it, we can see relatively smooth flat surface, slightly eroded edge, and from the shadow that's being cast, this is definitely elevated off the Martian surface. And on it we've got 2 triangular protrusions or knobs. This one's almost in the center of this rounded piece over here. So if you were to draw a circle, that will basically be in the center. And then a similar one in this region of the photograph towards the left. Very similar in design and shape. This one also measures about 15 meters across. And if we zoom in on it, we can see a relatively smooth flat surface as well. Got straight edges to it, a 90-degree angle over there. Also has a rounded side to it, good arc in that there. And then in the center we've got like a little pyramidal knob. So let's have a look at the 2 together so that you can do a comparison. Very similar in design, I'm sure you'd agree on that. And then we're looking at what looks like an Egyptian ankh over there, made out of stone. It's about, let's see, 12 meters long, and the little hole in it is about 2 to 3 meters in diameter. So let's zoom in on it. You can see the rounded part to it there, with one of the cross sections coming out of the sand over here. Then it continues down, and this side obviously is buried. So let's have a look at a comparison. Very similar in design. We've got the rounded part, the cross piece over there, and then the longer part going off to the bottom, same as over there. So what are the odds of finding one of those? As I say, there's an Egyptian link to Mars for sure. They do call Egypt the camp of Mars. So yeah, there's a link there for sure, I think. Let me know what you think of that in the comments below. Or am I just barking up the wrong tree? Checking out this very smooth, flat block or slab in the center. See perfectly straight edges as well. Got nice 90-degree angles. And then there seems to be a little protrusion here on the center of this side. And then some arrangement of smaller objects in the other corner. Looks as if it's arranged in a square pattern. Also slightly raised on this one side. Here we're looking at another almost square, very smooth, flat object. This one measures about 12 by 12 meters. And if we zoom in on it, also 3 very straight edges to it, 90-degree angles. Check at this angle over here, very, very close to 90 degrees, I'd say. And then it's also got some strange carved out pieces there. Check, there's 1, 2, 3, possibly 4. Some sand covering it over here. And that there looks like a little dome or sphere. So from part 1, I've added some more of these items that you can see. There's a very common design element to this shape as well. Here we've got that little square carved out of this one side. Maybe a little slot cut into that side with a protrusion in each of these corners. So yeah, very interesting. Boulders, swamp gas, just a weather balloon. So let's continue. We're looking at a multi-sided object over there with some symmetry and geometry to it. This is 12 meters. Let's just zoom in a bit. This side is 12 meters. That one there about 12 to 13 meters. And what makes this object really interesting is not just the straight edges and the right angles on either side there. Also seems to come around almost like a tombstone. Not that this is, but you get the idea with the shape. And then similar to another one of these I found in part 1, which we'll look at now. We've got a ridge line running through there, or a bevel to it, with 3 anomalies of the same size and spacing running parallel to this side. And then we've got another few running in parallel over there as well, and then possibly over here too. So what are the chances of that happening on a boulder? I think these are symbols or glyphs. So there's the other one we did in part 1. Also very similar in design. The bright side here and there. Got a row of smaller, equally sized and spaced smaller objects on it, with another row of them running through there in parallel. Coincidence? I don't think so. And we're looking at this narrow rectangular object over there, which measures about 12 meters long. And if we zoom in on it, you can see it's slightly rounded on this side, flat surface, and it's got a little protrusion on it over there. Very similar to others that I did in part 1. There's another one of those, same size. This one's a little bit bigger and wider, but also very similar in design. This one's got what looked like 2 knobs on it. This one here as well. That one over there's got one more to the, just off the center over there. Okay, yeah, we're looking at, I just got to find it quickly. So many anomalies. Here we go, it's right here, just off the center to the left. Measures about 14 meters across. That little square cube object thing there in the center measures about, let's see, 2 to 3 meters on that one side. So what makes this interesting is not just the cube that's been placed in the center of this slab, but check out the line of anomalies running through there in a straight line. Also almost same size and virtually equal spacing as well. There we've got another block sticking out of the surface there. Another smooth flat object over here with a straight side, and this side over here seems to be like a rounded part, so it's flat on this one side and then round on the other, so it looks almost like a half a cylinder if you compare it to that. Okay, yeah, we're looking at more alignment of smaller little objects on this larger piece, which measures about 15 meters long. And if we zoom in on it, you can see there's 1, 2, 3 in a row next to one another there. And then we've got some right angle over there with a rounded corner. And then this part sticking out there, this knob on it, you can see the shadow it casts over here. So also it looks like it could be like a rectangular block partially buried, the round corner over here, and a little protrusion or knob in this one side over there. Okay, here we're looking at another one of these really long, narrow pieces. This one's about 15 meters long and about 1 meter wide. And again, I'm not sure if this is like a slab turned on its side and only this edge is sticking out, or is this a long, narrow pillar or column? Very similar to this other one. This one's a bit longer. I'd say this one's about 20 meters long and about 2 to 3 meters wide. So it sticks out like a sore finger, literally. And up close, it's got a shiny edge to it on this side. Might be a block or a slab lying on its side with this part sticking out. So let's compare it to another one I found in part 1 over here. And there's the 2 from part 2. So a very common design element in this area of Mars. Check out this block over here to the top right. It's got 3 protrusions or knobs running through the center line there. There's just so many anomalies in this photograph. I encourage you to maybe download this one before it gets possibly deleted. You never know. There's some cool evidence that we're going to be covering in part 3 as well. Okay, so here we're looking at more alignment, smaller objects on a flat, smooth, larger piece. This one measures about 10 meters across. Check out this one over here. It's got a little sphere lying on it as well. So let's zoom in on it. Take a close look. Before I do that, this is from part 1. Also an object of the same size. It also has these smaller objects aligned on the edge, like it is over here as well. So there it is zoomed in, equally sized and spaced smaller objects aligned to the edge of this side, a slot cut in here, and then a rounded side here, and then there as well. Definitely some design to it. Okay, here we're looking at these slabs or blocks, partially buried in this region of the photograph. Let's just measure the size. That's huge. It's about 20 meters long as well. Let's zoom in. This piece over here is about 20 meters long, and it looks like a smaller block or slab is lying on top of it. Looks like there was a structure in this region, and obviously a catastrophe hit, and everything was spread around, broken up into pieces, mixing with normal boulders and rocks. But I'm sure you'll agree, with right angles and straight edges all over the place, these can't really be classified as boulders. Maybe if it was a wet area that dried out and cracked up, like in a lake bed, but I don't think so. Let me know what you think of that. Maybe some of these are from a dried out type of lake bed. They cracked up, left these squares. I found too many of them, and they're too scattered for that to really hold water, I think. Pardon the pun. But yeah, check out straight edges, a right angle over here, and then I'm not sure what's going on in this piece. It looks like a triangle being carved out of that one side. Very strange. Check out this piece, also very bright. It's about 15 meters long, and it has a protrusion on it as well. Check out the straight edges over here. We've got 3 straight edges. Don't know what's going on here. Looks almost as if this piece over here is lying underneath it, or might be coming out of what looks like an opening or archway over here, covered in some sand. Check out this piece. It's massive. It's about 20 meters long. You zoom in close, you can see smooth flat surface again, 2 rounded edges, and next to it we've got another block partially buried. You can see 3 of the sides. Check out the alignment of smaller objects on these. We're looking at another one of these tombstone shaped anomalies. This one's about 15 meters tall by about 8 meters wide. Zoom in on it, you can see it's got 3 protrusions arranged in a triangular pattern, There's that rounded side. So yeah, check that out. Okay, yeah, we're looking at a large piece that's broken in half almost. It's about 20 meters long, and up close you can see it's definitely got a crack in it. So this was a very huge piece. Also, it's got a rounded part to it, and a straight edge going through there. So it's a partial circular flat piece, almost like a disc, and with that crack running through it there. Compared to another piece I found in part 1, so a straight edge to it, and it's got a rounded part on the one side. Also, there's a protrusion similar to the protrusions on this object. Okay, more layered slabs or pieces over here. Also massive, this is about 20 meters across and wide. And zoom in, we can see there's 3 layers. We've got that one way down on the surface, this one wedged in between that one and the top one. And check out the straight edge over here, and on this piece over here too. Maybe this was one object that broke up into 3 pieces. Okay, yeah, we're looking at multiple pieces as well. This partially buried circular object is about 15 meters across, and we can check there's also protrusions on this block. They're running down the center line, same size, and almost equal spacing between those. There's also, you know, this object over here looks almost like a tombstone design as well. And then this partially rounded object sticking out here. Check it, the smooth flat side it's got, and it seems as if this arc is repeated up here as well. There's some design to that, a very smooth side to it. And compared to part 1, we have another one of these discs, same as that one, same size virtually, and wonder if this piece sticking out here isn't similar to this one lying on its side. Some more common design elements. Check out this strange piece. It's about 10 meters long. Looks almost like a teardrop. And then from part 1, another similar object as well. This one looks like could be a hatch that's opened. And not sure to make of this, but similar sort of material and design to it. Check that out there. There's another one of those objects that looks like a tombstone. I don't know what else to call it. I know that sounds very sad. Well, it is a sad region of Mars. If you think of the civilization or race that lived there, that was totally annihilated in the past from the catastrophes. We'll check out those 2 explosions towards the end of the video. So yeah, we've got straight sides and then that rounded part on the top. a little dome or sphere in the center over there. So that's that teardrop object zoomed in. Okay, yeah, we're looking at, let's just see, where's this? Up there, towards the top middle of this region. And yeah, that's a rather huge piece. That's about 25 meters long. But what's strange about it is the smaller part on the left, which measures about 5 meters long and about 3 to 4 meters wide. Let's zoom in on it. I don't know if it's part of this or if this is something lying on top of it, but check out the design. We've got these two rounded sides coming to a flat side over here. We've got two arcs. Definitely some symmetry in that design as well. Could this be a part of it? Maybe part of a sculpture or something like that. Okay, yeah, we're looking at oh wait, before we do that, check out the alignment of those three smaller parts on top of that. Equally sized and spaced as well in a row. There's just too many anomalies to show them all to you, but if you'd like, you can always pause and check these out with a magnifying glass or an eyepiece. Maybe even zoom in using the desktop zooming software. But yeah, anyway, so that just caught my eye very quickly. So we're looking at some more irregular boulders over here. Check that out. That's about, there's two straight narrow pieces to it. They're both sort of equal length, and that is about, this one's about 8 meters long and about 1.5 meters wide. Check out that. We got two straight pieces running parallel to one another. I don't know if they're connected somehow, but it looks as if this piece is definitely sticking out of the surface. If you look at that long shadow it's casting, it's almost like a little monolith. And there we're looking at that piece. This looks almost like a piece of wreckage. It's about 14 meters across. Let me zoom in on it. Straight edge over there, here as well, and a 90-degree angle. It looks as if it's got some depth to it. Slightly rounded over here, and there's sand up against this one side. And we've got two similar narrow, smaller parts parallel with this one edge over here. And then over here we've got something rather strange going on. That's why I think it might be wreckage. Looks as if this side's been ripped and that part bent up, and that opening there, and then that piece might have twisted off to that side there with that V shape in it there. I don't know, part of a sculpture or monument or wreckage or a weather balloon. Guys, if I sound very sort of I don't know, I'm getting frustrated with NASA and these guys. Why don't they just tell us what we're looking at? I can't believe it. How many more of these strange anomalies must we show for these people to realize that we can see it for what it is, man. It's not boulders. Anyway, we're looking at this object, and on top of it we got like a little triangle. It's partially raised off the surface, and that triangle measures about 5 by 5 by 5 meters, and it's got some symmetry and geometry to it. There's 1, 2, 3 sides. At each apex we've got a dark spot. Very interesting as well. And from part 1, another almost triangular piece with 3 dark spots in it as well, similar to that. This might be a hatch as well. Maybe that's an opening, an entranceway. Maybe even that could be a little ventilation system, I don't know. Okay, yeah, some strange glyphs or knobs or protrusions on these 3 objects. And let's just check. That protrusion over there, for example, is about 1.5 to 2 meters across. This one over here. So these are very similar in size. These ones are arranged in an arc. That one looks as if it's arranged in a circular pattern over there. We've got that little sort of 3-sided object on top of that. So are these glyphs or symbols, or maybe part of a destroyed statue or sculpture? Okay, here we're looking at what looks like a smokestack right there in the center of the screen, and it's got a diameter of about 4 meters. And if we check out the shadow it casts, the piece definitely has a large bottom round base, and then a smaller part leaving that shadow there. So as I say, it looks like a smokestack. Not that it is, but it's got the shape of one. And then over here too, strange object there and there on either side of what looks like a rectangular opening. We can see straight edges and a right angle there. Maybe a little outpost or habitat or enclosure. And in this I did in part 1, and wasn't sure what it could be with this opening and what looks like a rounded disc with a dome on it inside. But I was looking at it again, and this looks like maybe a symbol of an eye with the pupil there in the center. And I'll show you why I say that. It's very close to what I call the Eye of Horus that I discovered very close by. So yeah, this looks like an eye to me with the pupil there in the center. So let's do that. We go over to Google Earth Mars and we check out these anomalies, as well as those in the region, as well as the 2 nuclear explosions, according to Dr. Brandenburg's work. So okay, over to the northern hemisphere, and this region that we analyzed, some of the anomalies from part 1. Now let's check out why I say this area could have been devastated by those 2 nuclear explosions. We've got the one here in Cydonia, about 2,700 kilometers to the west, and the other one up here towards Galaxis or Galaxis Chaos, which is about 3,500 kilometers to the east. Let's quickly check that out. Here's Cydonia Mensa. So the first nuclear explosion, according to Dr. Brandenburg, here in Cydonia, the larger of the two explosions. And then the smaller explosion to the east. So let's follow the red line to Galaxious Chaos. So this is where the smaller explosion occurred. So very plausible, within reach of this region. And then let's look at the Eye of Horus. Let's just see how far it is from that area. So the Eye of Horus is about 480 kilometers southeast of the Cydonian Neolithic artists and builders. Let's switch on the CTX mosaic. You can see it a little clearer, and it's right there. Just give the photograph a chance to load. This is the CTX photograph, and then zoom in. There it is, guys. So tilt it a bit. I don't know why it's going up to that weird angle. There we go. The eyebrow, the upper eyelid and bottom eyelid, with the pupil right there in the center. And these look like eyelashes there. This is about, if I can recall, 180 meters across. That's why I say that other symbol in the last artifact I showed looks like an eye, like a symbol of an eye almost. And then, guys, you won't believe it, this is also very close to where I found what looks like the Starship Enterprise. Oh, where is it? Just had to pause there for a second, guys, to find the so-called Starship Enterprise in inverted commas. It's an object that looks very similar in design. So let's see, it's just to the east of the Eye of Horus. It's about 90 kilometers to the east, and if we zoom in on it, you'll see why I say it's got a similar shape and design. There it is right there. You've got the round disc part, then the piece that the two nacelles will be connected to. Rather strange to see that. It looks almost like an old-fashioned hand mirror, but yeah, that disc is about, let's see, I think it's 300 meters across. Yeah, it's about 270 meters across. And yeah, it's perfectly round. It's lying slightly on its side with the back part of the ship. If we now compare it to what the Enterprise would look like with the two nacelles that would have been here. It's a very strange object indeed. Let me know what you think of that one. So all in all, there's the, in inverted commas, Starship Enterprise, the Eye of Horus, and then the Cydonian Neolithic artists and builders of Mars, all in this region. Okay, so let's see, what else do we have here? Oh yes, that's that huge triangular structure measuring about 300 meters per side. some more. There's what looks like a disc with a little hole in it. Another object there with a little protrusion on it in the center. Looks like a Stonehenge. Very similar to the one on Earth, same sort of size. And yeah, what's down here? Okay, yeah, that's the ode to Roddenberry and Clark, where we've got the partially buried monolith, and then the looks like Starship Enterprise object there. Okay, I don't want to make the video too long. I think I've covered what I wanted to. Oh, this is also where I found one of two of these classic flying saucer objects with a dome on it. The other one is located about 3,000 k's to the other side in the southern hemisphere, but there they are for you to compare. Also same size and geometry in that design as well. Thanks for watching the video. I know it was a very long one again, but well worth it, I'm sure you'll agree. In part 3, more strange and weird anomalies and artifacts. Just a quick thank you to my subscribers, to those that have just joined recently, as well as my regular viewers. Thank you for your support. I do appreciate it very much. I don't monetize any of my videos. I don't have a Patreon account. I do this all for free because I believe getting the truth out there is something that, well, in my belief, I won't charge for it. Other people do. They've got sort of overheads and things that they need to pay for, as well as myself. I'm sure when I retire in a decade or two, I'll also have to monetize my channel to cover costs. But for now, I'll offer what I find to you for free. So thanks again for watching. I'll be back with part 3. Bye-bye for now.